Hi. Hi, John. How are you? First of all, how are you and how are you feeling tonight?
I'm good. I'm feeling well. Just finished performing, and yeah, it was a great atmosphere here. Very concentrated energy. So yeah, I'm feeling very good. Thanks.
You performed as a solo, and I don't know. It's the first time for me hearing you in as a solo artist, and it's a very interesting form for your music. And I was wondering, like, how do you find yourself playing in solo? Like, what comes into like the preparation for this show compared to like your normal like band setup and everything?
Yeah, it's a very different experience. The solo show was actually born out of the pandemic because the last album I made was very much a solo album where I recorded myself multiple times as opposed to going into the studio with a band. So when I made that album, it was all about, wow, how do I perform this live? So I had the pandemic 2020 and a bit of 2021 to kind of practice and get into it, and it was really just developing like how to use like a loop station and like pedals and things like that. It's very different. You're by yourself, so it feels like it's more responsibility to keep the energy going and to be inventive and create new things in real time. But it's good. I enjoy it. I feel like I zone into myself in a different way, and hopefully the people enjoyed it today.
You just said like zoning into yourself, and your last album, In Try, you also said on stage it was like a trip into yourself, into your discovering yourself and everything. And I was wondering, like, the album came out like 2 years ago, more or less, and how is this journey going? Like, it's still going on, like personally, musically speaking, like at what point do you feel you're at right now?
Yeah, I feel like it's a lifelong journey, but I feel more secure in myself than I did like prior to making the album. I think putting out the album was such a release. I've been able to enjoy that release, and I've been able to enjoy playing shows where people have connected with that music. So it's been nice, man. And I feel, yeah, obviously still on the self-discovery, but still learning more, but in a place of content with myself and where I'm at. So I'm in a good space, and I'm just trying to figure out what the next thing is.
Yeah. And it has been something like along the way that you didn't expect, that you discovered about yourself, also like strictly musically speaking, like something new, something like that excited you in this couple of years, and maybe that's something that you are now working on for like the future projects?
The first thing that comes to mind is I never thought I'd be able to do a show by myself. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Like, that's something that I had to dig in and really think about and strategize. Like, what is the sound world that I can create that can entertain people for 45 minutes to an hour to 90 minutes? So that was something where I had to go in and figure out what am I doing here, and it was a great experience. And also that, I don't know, also being a leader. Obviously I've been a part of Sons of Kemet for a third of my life. And I've loved that experience, and obviously now I'm stepping out on my own and seeing what leadership really looks like, and I think it suits me, and I think that's a
like experience, a rewarding experience.
Yeah, it's a rewarding experience, and it's something that I didn't always know I'd be able to hack and be able to do, but it's something I really enjoy and love, and hopefully I get to do it for years and years to come.
Yeah, like you mentioned Sons of Kemet, and that experience has come to an end.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was a little bit of a shock for us all that we love the project and everything, and I don't know if there are some different reasons behind it, if you can speak about it a little bit.
Yeah, of course. I think it was just the right time. I feel like 10 years is a long time to be around the same people and create, and I feel like we've all come to a space where it's time to separate and do our own thing. But I'm very. I think when the time is right, we'll rejoin. I don't think it's the complete end. I just think Shabaka's doing his going very heavily into the flute thing, which is a very like deep and profound thing that is part of his journey. Tom Skinner is a superstar now in the Smile, and Eddie just released his album, the Not Culture Ensemble. So I feel like we're in a space where everyone is exploring but keeping the same energy, and I think we have to wander back to each other eventually, so but I'm very happy and I'm very proud of what we've achieved as a group.
Going back a little bit, and I feel like, and you always spoke about this in interviews and stuff. Your sound is very rooted, like in the sound system culture, and I'm very fond of like that culture, the UK culture. So I want to ask you, like, where are you at, like in England, like that piece of culture, like.
Right.
What's happening right now that you think it's very interesting, at any levels of it?
Yeah, it's at an interesting space in the UK. I think grime is still going. It's obviously it's like 20 years old now, but there's still amazing artists within that genre. But I guess the main prominent music that stems from that tree would be drill.
Yeah.
And I feel like Chicago, well, obviously drill is originally a Chicago art form, but Chicago and London have always had like ties to each other through house and various things. So I feel like UK drill is that sound right now, but there's a lot of creativity going on. People like Digger D, Backroad G, H, Central C. There's a lot of people, that are an extension of the tree of the sound system, which comes from grime, but then garage, jungle before that. So yeah, I think it's in a good space. And we the jazz musicians or the instrumentalists are just following it and seeing what we can take from it and how we can hopefully collaborate with these artists and also like make music that fits within that mold with instruments, as we've always done.
And speaking about jazz instead, like you played a jazz tune for the latest jazz, the Blue Note Reimagined edition, a monk tune, and I don't know if that was your choice or if they asked you. And I don't know. I find it an interesting choice for a tuba player to play a monk tune, and I don't know if you can speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, of course. I've always been a fan of monk. Actually, I feel like even when I was studying in college at the Guildhall School of Music in London, I did a monk recital, and I've always enjoyed playing that music. And I think he is someone that is very unique and has his own style in the way he composes and also improvises. In correlation to me, I think the tuba is a very unique instrument, and I'd like to think that my approach to the tuba is very unique. So I feel like there's a similarity there, which I felt like needed to be explored. And Epistrophe just felt like the right song to do that. It's got such a memorable bass motif for me as a tuba player to really pick up on, and yeah, it was a real great experience to choose that song and reinvent it in my own way.
And also, like the fun thing about Monk is like that it seems like he almost stumbles upon himself when he plays.
Yeah.
And your playing is very rooted in like a steady groove, something like. And I don't know, how do those two things do you think, like playing a standing monk and your groove that maybe if it's a stretch, but maybe not, comes from the sound system culture and etc. Like those two things, when and how do you think like they came together, if they came together?
I feel like all of Monk's tunes have a certain groove to it. Obviously, Monk is amplification. Well, not just amplification, but like sound system and what we're talking about, like 50s present. But I feel like there's an underlying groove that I connect with in all of his compositions, really. And yeah, I feel like that is the connection, that real laying down of groove, but also like bass line. Sound system is a culture that derives around basses, and I feel like even acoustically, his music was always bass driven. He had great bass motifs for a lot of his compositions. So almost like it's a great synergy between those two cultures, and I'm glad to be able to explore that through what I was able to do with Epistrophe.
We are speaking, of course, about a jazz musician and jazz like American culture, and you also played on a record from M.Chiara Incecchi, and it was an interesting experiment, of like bringing like the UK and USA contemporary jazz scenes together. And I don't know, do you find like there are fundamental differences between like UK and American jazz musicians? And what are they like in a good way, of course, like what is like the exchange between you when you play?
I feel like it's literally an accent, a bit like like how we speak, like just like how there's an American accent and there's a like London accent or a British accent. There's an American playing style and there's a British playing style. And I think the fundamental differences might be like inflection and things that in certain British artists you hear there's an inflection where certain cultural elements come through a bit more prominently than in the US. But in the US, you know, they have their thing as well, which is like rooted in a very strong tradition, but different. So it's the same thing. It's the same tree, but like branches growing in different ways. But at the end of the day, in regards to that M.Chiara Incecchi tape, I just felt like it was just a great synergy of energy. Like we all loved and respected each other and wanted to make a moment in time great. And that's what happened. And I'm glad that could be captured and put to vinyl as a record.
One of the last thing I always ask every musician I talk to is a bit of a selfish thing, meaning like, what are you listening to right now? Because I'd like to know and maybe go listen myself what you are listening to.
An incredible saxophone player called Isaiah Collier. I've been listening to some of his music, which is amazing. And it's just great to listen to, I don't know, like R&B, even like Anderson .Paak, Summer Walker, like getting back into the 90s stuff with like Brandy and Lauryn Hill, and jazz-wise, I don't know, like the usuals like Kenny Garrett, Roy Hargrove, and then the legends like Miles Monk, a various plethora of things.
Are these like suggestions on like what your next work will look like? Are you already working on it?
Possibly. I feel like my next work will reflect some of the traveling I've got to do, particularly in America, and there'll be some American synergy that I'm gonna have to capture on record, man. So yeah, looking forward to what comes next.
Thank you very much. I enjoy your evening and it's been a pleasure. Thank you.